Hey guys, welcome to Callous Fight Night, specifically the second to last Callous Fight Night. It is Kristyl once again for her fourth week in a row defending champ. She is not doing a lot of losing even though she's not an ADV main. She has a real test here against Johnnyg2. I don't know if you can call him an ADV main. I think he is. I think that's his best tier, but he plays a little bit of everything. I've seen him play all of 1 through 5 at a pretty high level. This is a very versatile, experienced player who knows a thing or two about various metagames. ADV probably being his strongest one, and as you guys will see by the time this video is up, he has in fact been invited to and accepted the invite to the Callous Invitational 5 main event, so it's obviously a player I believe in. I don't know if they're waiting for me or what, but hopefully they make the move. Kristyl opting for what must be an offensive team because of the Jinx lead, and it's probably going to have a Dougie in the back that's basically an obligatory partner. And we're going to begin. So there is the Houndoom switch for Johnnyg. That's a little funky. That's not what I was expecting. Well, it is a Firemon. It is something that resists Ice Beam. Hell, it seems like a good Jinx counter overall. Fire Blast toasts her, Crunch or Pursuit would be bad if he gets that prediction right. Even if you land Lovely Kiss, it's going to have early bird, so it's very prone to waking up quickly. I mean, if Jinx were more popular in the meta, Houndoom seems like one hell of a counter for it. There's Lovely Kiss, and it's asleep, sure. But like I said, early bird, it could wake up any time. Have to be careful about the Dugtrio switch, though, because even if Houndoom does manage to kill Jinx, it will, of course, get revenge killed by the Dug that you know is going to be there. Ice Beam and Fire Punch, respectively, as Rachi comes in, totally safe now. Sleep Claws prevents that from going to sleep, so it's going to be very comfortable against Jinx. And good turn for Johnny, landing a Toxic on the incoming Swampert here. And the damage negated by the Wish as well, so strictly advantageous turn for Johnny. And there's two good ones in a row. So Kristyl not off to a good start defending her title here as Johnny sneaks in the Skarm, gets spikes down, eats a pump. And looking pretty good. He's got the Toxic on the Pert, he's got the spikes down, his stuff's pretty healthy. The Houndoom is asleep, but like I said, with early bird, that just isn't as big of a deal as it could be. I think overall it'd be very hard to argue that Johnny's not ahead right now. It seems like he's in a pretty good place. Swampert getting really low at this point. Here's Zapdos coming in on what is an obvious protect turn for Johnny. See if this is going to get some momentum back for Kristyl. Protect because why not? T-Bolt, you don't learn anything. We already knew Zapdos would have that. They all do. And out of the way goes to a Flygon, previously unrevealed. It's going to blank Thunderbolt, but of course has to be careful of things like Toxic or even more dangerous HP Ice. See if Johnny scouts for those. It could just be a Protect here. Makes sense to me there'd be a Flygon. Yeah, it's a Pokemon that wants Gengar to not be there. It has a really hard time dealing with Gengar, so the Houndoom synergy is in place. And we've got our first little pause. It's been a pretty good pace up to this point, but first little pause here to make a decision. Johnny seems clearly ahead to me right now by a decent margin as well. Certainly Kristyl with 3 unrevealed pokes is obviously not out of the game. A lot can still happen here, but definitely looks like Johnny's winning from my perspective. There we go. We've got a Protect and a Toxic respectively, so now that Johnny knows that's there, what will he do? Rachi makes sense to me. And Kristyl, again, not able to make the prediction. She's getting outplayed by Johnny here. Blanking the Toxic on the Steel-type Rachi on the switch-in. BP. To what, though? Not to Doug, not to Jinx. To Gengar. Alright, so now Kristyl outpredicts Johnny. She's going to get a Poison type in on the Toxic, which is going to blank that. And now Gengar has an option to do something. Has to be careful of Houndoom, which is still sleeping, but nevertheless, you also, the Tar isn't going to be pursued because of the presence of the Houndoom. So the Tar is going to be physical, so that at least should be deterred by the Will-O-Wisp. Fire Punch, if he has it, can't be too bad here because the Houndoom, like I said, is going to have early bird, not flash fire. So the worst thing is you just do pretty bad damage to the Houndoom and you get out of the way. I don't like the second Will-O-Wisp for this exact reason. You've got to be really careful now. If you try to switch the Gengar out, it could easily just wake up with Early Bird in pursuit, and Gengar's in a real bad place. Yeah, I don't like the wild there. I think she was treading on dangerous territory by keeping the Gar in. Got a little greedy there. It's going to scare Johnny off, though. I'm really surprised that he didn't stay in there. I guess he's going to try to wake up the Houndoom another day, or he wants to keep it as a sleeper because he doesn't want the Jinx to sleep something else. Opts for the T-Bolt, which is the aggressive play that Kristyl makes, trying to kill the Houndoom on the off chance it doesn't wake up there. And it ends up landing on Zapdos instead for really underwhelming damage. Must be both a bulky Gar and a bulky Zapdos to do that little. Just 18%, sub 20% from a Gengar of all things, neutral T-Bolt. It's really low. Like I said, they both have to be bulky if it's doing that little. And again, we have a small pause for the timer, not too long. Here's Zapdos coming in, and Doom. So that was actually a nice result for Kristyl. I'm not sure if that was the intention or not, but that's actually pretty good. Because now the Swampert gets to do something before it dies here. It gets a free Hydro Pump, a free Earthquake, whatever prediction you want to make. Hydro Pump or Surf, whatever its water move is, seems to be the obvious thing to do here. You might as well get a boosted attack in Torrent range. And takes a nice bite there, 51%. Nice chunk out of the Zapdos. So Kristyl gets some value out of her Gar, or out of her, I think she should follow up with Gar, but out of her Swampert before that goes down. So that catches her up a little. She's still behind, but that definitely was a good sequence for her. Gengar, I think, is the obvious follow-up here, and you just click Ice Punch, but I don't know. The matchup seems tough. I mean, there's the ever-present threat of the Houndoom, and then if you do just click Ice Punch, I mean, does the Gengar really beat the Jirachi? Now, granted, if you predict the Jirachi and you're correct and you get it with a Will-O-Wisp, that definitely helps. It is not the most backbreaking thing in the world on Jirachi, but, like, it's a burn. It's good. It helps. Here's a double back. High risk for Kristyl, possibly rewarded. Gets the Dugtrio in with a great double switch to bait out either this or the Houndoom. Finds the Rachi, huge Earthquake. And the best thing Johnny could do is Toxic. Really nice play from Kristyl, demonstrating why she is a 4-week champion here. Trying to defend for the 4th time, or win for the 4th time rather. The first week that she won was her becoming the champion in the first place. But she has 3 consecutive wins in Fight Night. Possibly a 4th if she can do this. And making plays like that, that was a really good double. That's going to show why she's here. Leaves us in a 5-5 situation. Last poke for Kristyl still hidden. Everything else we know. And there's some stuff not in great shape on both sides. Zapdos, as you see here, at just 31%. Dugtrio low and poisoned. Jinx not in great shape. Houndoom still asleep. Damage on a lot of stuff. And we end up with Zap on Zap. And there is a rest. So Johnny's fully healthy with his Zapdos, but it's taking a nap. See if it wants to stay in here against an opposing Zapdos here. I assume the one for Kristyl is more on the offensive side. But maybe not. She doesn't have anything even resembling a special wall, so maybe that's what the Zapdos does on this team. And it also just happens to have the ability to baton pass to a sleep-inducing Pokemon. The most common being Breloom, but it's Jinx in this case. And of course the ability to BP to a Dugtrio, which is a deadly combo that they've been using in OU for quite some time. Here's Flygon. And Thunderbolt's going to blank after connecting once on the opposing Zapdos. Toxic's going to land. That's good for Kristyl. Rock Slide comes back. That looks to me like non-CB damage, but I could be wrong on that. I'm pretty sure we saw... Oops. Yeah, we saw Protect. So, I mean, it's not going to be a CB Flygon with Protect. So, it's obviously going to have lefties in there somewhere. Here's the BP. Just Dug, right? As long as it's alive. Or that's what she's calcing. She's calcing, does it stay alive with the 2 layers of spikes and the Toxic. Obviously, if it does, you would just kill the Houndoom here, and if it doesn't, well, it sucks to suck. I believe the 2 layers do whatever it is, 16.5, and then the Toxic does an additional 6, so it looks to me Unfortunately, at 22, like the Doug trio is dead. But if I happen to be wrong about that, if I'm miscalculating and it can come in at even 1% or 1 HP, that would be good enough because you could kill the Houndoom here with Earthquake. But I do believe the Doug trio is not actually an option here. But that seems to be what Kristyl is figuring out. And she does, of course, still have that one unrevealed in the back as a possibility as well. Kristyl taking the timer. 30 seconds, approaching about a minute here. Really trying to figure it out, get it right. I think she wants to remain the champion until Fight Night ends. That would be pretty cool. And she shows her last here, and admittedly, that's not the last that I thought it would be, so that's pretty nifty. And that actually, if it's HP Ice, could be a big threat. If it's HP Grass, I think it's going to have a really hard time with the Flygon, though the Flygon is poisoned. But if it's HP Ice, I think it would be good. But we see here that it's not. Super effective hidden power on T-Tire, so it's obviously HP Grass. The Raikou is a threat here. It does not beat T-Tire one-on-one in this situation because the Thunderbolt would come up short and then Earthquake would not. But I think the Raikou has the potential, in conjunction with the other pokes that are all pretty fast and hit pretty hard, to maybe dig Kristyl out of this game because I feel like she's been behind for most of it. There's Gar coming in on Earthquake. Johnny not able to predict that and go for something else, such as Rock Slide, and that could hurt him. Kristyl here with a free opportunity to do something, but no, she doesn't take advantage. Now she's going to not get the prediction right either. Goes for Will-O-Wisp into the Houndoom, and she's going to be disappointed by that Thunderbolt damage. Only 31%. Houndoom, if it's early bird, as they almost all are, is very due to wake up here. But it's going to stay asleep. Does Johnny have Flash Fire? I definitely disagree with that if he does. Houndoom should absolutely have Early Bird. It's supposed to beat Hypnogar specifically, but for this reason as well, when you randomly get slept by a Jinx or a Breloom or whatever, you want to wake up. If it has Flash Fire, he has got to be kicking himself right now. Early Bird, we're looking at a totally different game. It wakes up, it crunches, and there's no more Gengar. But it has not woken up, and that is very relevant to the outcome of this game. All of a sudden, Johnny losing the Houndoom, or about to lose the Houndoom, to the Gengar that it is supposed to counter. That is not the way that matchup is supposed to play out. Early Bird is so important, and now Johnny's got his back against the wall. Kristyl somehow has managed to claw ahead in this game as well. Hell, maybe I should have invited her to CALLOUS Invitational. We've got an ADV prodigy in the making here, evidently. She just keeps winning in Fight Night. If she wins this game, and it's not over yet, but now Kristyl is clearly ahead. If she wins this game, it'll be her 4th win in a row, and a couple of them have been against pretty damn good opponents. Certainly Johnnyg2 included among them. Ice Punch. Oh, that's going to be real close. Zapdos may or may not live another one after Sand. But he's not going to chance it. He's going to go Doug. And there's the rest. So I don't know that I love this play for Kristyl. The sack mechanics work differently here. What that did is that enabled a free rest, but it does at least let her follow up. Jinx going to go for Calm Mind. Interesting. +1 Ice Beam is going to be well short of killing the Tar here. And Earthquake going to rock her world. So down that goes. Now Johnny's got the lead again. This is very back and forth, but I could see how both players can win this game. I still think at this point, Kristyl has a good shot because I think the amount of special offense, special pressure that she has is going to be very difficult for Johnny to handle. The Flygon normally could be very helpful here against the Zapdos and the Raikou. But with the Toxic landing on it earlier, which was so crucial, maybe Kristyl could squeak through. And of course, Gengar is a very good Flygon counter. But does it really want to switch in on like a Rock Slide? Not really. Is it the end of the world if it switches on Rock Slide? No. You can get crit or whatever BS though, and things can go poorly. I believe the Gengar is still, yeah, it's at full health. So even a crit Rock Slide, if it's a bulky Gar and a bulky Flygon, even a crit might not be enough. And we see here that it definitely would not have been. It wouldn't have even been close. So again, I think it's a bulky Gar and a bulky Flygon. So that is a pretty underwhelming Rock Slide at 28%. A crit would have been so short, it's not even funny. And the obvious Ice Punch gets clicked here for Kristyl. Zapdos has killed 0 sleep turns, so there's going to be multiple more Ice Punches coming. Good damage rolls or a crit or whatever will just put the end to that Zapdos. I think we're going to see that here. I believe an Ice Punch with the Sand, I mean, a crit makes it a guarantee, but I don't think it actually mattered. I think an Ice Punch with the Sand would have been good enough. And we might be done here. The only way is if Kristyl screws up here, she attacks, doesn't kill, and then the T-Tar DDs up and is faster and maybe sweeps, or alternatively, Kristyl switches, Johnny DDs on the switch, and then oops, shouldn't have switched. Very small window for Johnny here if Kristyl doesn't get the roll or makes a pretty egregious punt by switching here. If she gets cued, oh, I'll go to Raikou on the Rock Slide, I'll go to Zapdos on the Earthquake or whatever. I mean, she doesn't need to switch out of Earthquake here with Gengar, obviously, but you know what I mean. If she talks herself into a switch, which she should not make, then she could get burned if the T-Tar DD's up. She's thinking about conserving the Gengar to handle the Flygon, which I get. But man, if you switch to save the Gengar and all of a sudden Johnny starts dancing, just like that, Johnny can steal this game out from under you. There you go. That's the play. Kristyl figured it out. There's the wow. As long as that doesn't miss, you're in good shape. And the only way Johnny can win now is if this is DD rest with Lum or Chesto. And it can't be Lum, obviously, because the burn would have gone away there. Yeah, it's got lefties. So I think we're done, right? I mean, I guess Kristyl could leave in the Gengar and not kill the Tar and then get the Gengar killed with Rock Slide plus Sand, and then maybe the Flygon beats the other two. But as long as Kristyl plays it correctly, I think she's got this in the bag. There's the Raikou getting killed by an Earthquake. Leaves us with Flygon on Gar. I mean, Ice Punch getting clicked here one way or another. Johnny's going to lose one or the other. I think this game's just over, right? I mean, if you keep Flygon in, it dies. If you switch T-Tar in between the burn and the Ice Punch and then the follow-up Ice Punch, it dies, and then you just kill Flygon. And then if you do just leave Flygon in for lack of other choices, how could the Tar in its current state ever sweep? How could a Tar at 24% and burnt ever sweep? The answer, of course, is it can't. And Kristyl somehow is going to pull this one out as well. Was not looking good for her for a hot minute there. Even goes for the boom to play around a rest. Pretty cool. But yeah, it looked like Johnny was very much ahead in this early game. I didn't love Krystyl's position at all. And once again, she finds a way to win. This is her 4th Fight Night win in a row. Girl can really play ADV, as it turns out, even though she is a DPP main. Yeah, really impressive. Johnny, like I said, is someone I invited to the CALLOUS Invitational 5 main event. Really on a tear recently. Good player, and not as good as Kristyl in this game. Really impressive stuff. Let's see if she can hold the title all the way through until the very end of Fight Night, which is going to be next week, because the week after that we're starting CALLOUS Invitational 5 play-ins. So we just need to draw one final challenger here, and that'll be it. I'm not saying Fight Night will never be back, but it's going to take a good long break while CALLOUS Invitational is going on, and then hopefully I get to manage SPL again. And I'm not going to be doing Fight Night during SPL either. So here it is. Here's what is left of our challenger pool. It's just one final game, 1 through 73. Who's going to play the final game of Fight Night next week against Kristyl? Who is going to try to gatekeep her from being a 5-week champion, which might be a record, by the way, and holding her title all the way until the end. It's going to be player number 49. Who the F is that? 30, 40, 48. How appropriate. Look who it is. Let me just make sure I did that math right. I believe I did. Pretty straightforward here. 30, 40, 48. Is it 49? Yep. How appropriate. My buddy Jabba, Jabba the Griffin, is going to be the one to attempt to dethrone Kristyl here and be the end of season Fight Night champion. It's the last Fight Night. It's happening next week. I hope to see you guys there. Thank you for watching.